Yo, what's up? Welcome inside the opening line. Corey and Benny winding down the week, coming to you on a Thursday, getting ready to get it started back again tonight with the Philadelphia Eagles and the Green Bay Packers. We'll get into that and break that down, look at some fab results, and get into some more stuff. What's the deal with you, Benny?
Not too much. Just spent most of last night doing football because I had some baseball to do yesterday. So once baseball locked, it turned me into football mode for the next 3 days because I got a lot of football content coming out. So anybody who's around, I'll be on the live stream tonight. Corey decided to diss me to go hang out with his daughter, but I mean, I understand. I would do the same thing if I was in his shoes. But it'll be me and Russell Clay tonight, so you guys are in good hands anyway.
No doubt. Make sure you rock with Benny and Russell tonight. All the elite fantasy subscribers, they get the live stream rocking and rolling to get you ready for the showdown slate and all the rest of it. As far as this morning goes, Benny, I want to start with last year when Le'Veon Bell was going through his holdout and he was getting towards that magic. I believe it was week 10 for Le'Veon Bell last year. And he did show up and arrive in Pittsburgh. I was working with someone who had actually played in the NFL before. And they was like, if Bell does show up this week, he'd be surprised if Bell plays more than 2 games because with the situation that Bell had last year, he was like, what he would do is he would show up, he would play in the first game, he would practice that next week, and then he'd be like, okay, coach, my hamstring hurts. And that hamstring would hinder him for the rest of the season, and he wouldn't play a lot anyway. Benny, I think that could be the Melvin Gordon case.
I was just going to say, is this where you're going with this? But go ahead.
I think this could be the Melvin Gordon case. I think Melvin Gordon shows up. He may give him a couple of weeks, but I think before too long, he's Melvin Gordon. Something on Melvin Gordon will tighten up, and Austin Ekeler and Justin Jackson have the job. I am actually looking to buy Ekeler and Jackson as I am than I would rather sell them.
Okay, I'm on board with that. I kind of think something similar. I mean, here's the deal, right? Like, there's one of 2 ways that the Chargers are going to look at this. They're either going to say, F you, you're leaving anyway. We're going to run you into the ground and give you 35 carries. Or they're going to be like, well, if you ain't going to be here, then what the hell's the point of us throwing you out there so you can get some tape for your free agent year? We'd rather move on now and start working with these other guys and seeing what we have so that we know what we need to do in the offseason to get our team better. And I really think the smarter thing to do is the second one. I mean, listen, Melvin Gordon doesn't want to be there. Melvin Gordon's not going to be a part of your team going forward. So why even bother? You know what I mean? Like, why are you throwing him out there? I mean, if Ekeler gets hurt or if Jackson gets hurt, all right, I understand because now you need Melvin Gordon. But they've done pretty well without him. Austin Eckler's looked pretty good. They're running the ball. They're moving it. I really don't – I don't want to overreact, especially as somebody who has a lot of Austin Ekeler. But, we'll see how they go with it.
Yeah, like I said, I still start him. I still wrote him out there, particularly this week.
Oh, definitely start him this week. Melvin Gordon's not even playing this week. Don't even worry about it.
Jackson's rough to start this week, too. We've seen the backup running backs go off against the Dolphins. Yep. This is the Melvin Gordon thing that worries me the most if I'm an Austin Ekeler, Justin Jackson guy, mainly Austin Ekeler, is that team should be 0-3. They should have lost that game to the Colts.
True.
They lost to They lost to Houston. They lost to Detroit. Now, this week, they come back to the East Coast again for a 1 o'clock start. Mm-hmm. Now, albeit this time it's Miami, they had a tough stretch to start the season. But what happens is that Melvin Gordon gets out there in week 5 and they start winning. That's when I would worry, okay, well, wait a minute, maybe these Ekeler shares are not valid. But I still don't think we get a full season of Melvin Gordon. And like I said, I'm not aggressively going to buy Ekeler, but I'm definitely going to buy low on him.
So here's the deal. Like, part of the reason why I was drafting Ekeler around the 6th, 7th round when we started talking about this whole Melvin Gordon thing is that we said even if Melvin Gordon comes back, Ekeler still has a role.
Yep.
Ekeler's still the passing down guy. Ekeler is somebody who could even see keep seeing some end zone work, even though that goal line fumble has people a little worried about that. But I'm not really stressing it. So I don't think that even if Melvin Gordon comes back, I don't think it kills Ekeler. It definitely kills the 20, 25 points a game Eckler's been putting up as the lead back, playing 75% of the snaps. But again, I mean, he's still going to be somebody who's worth holding on to. So the way I look at it is if you have Ekeler right now, your worst case scenario is you probably drop him from arguably an RB1 right now, which is what he's been so far this season, to like a flex kind of play. And then if Melvin Gordon turns out to not be taking any of those carries, you're still sitting on an RB. I think he's an RB2, probably. RB1, arguably, the rest of the way from here on out. Talking about Austin Eckler.
Yep, I would agree with you on that one. I would agree. I don't think there's no problem with anything that you said just now, and that's the way I would look at the situation with the Los Angeles Chargers also. Benny, this week, looking at one of my leagues, nothing we didn't really see. Adam Humphries. I saw Adam Humphries come off the wire in a couple places. Andy Dalton seems to be a popular name, and so is Irv Smith.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Like, no, seriously, like none of that really moves the needle for me. I'm not trying to dismiss it. Like Andy Dalton, all right, I understand, people need a quarterback. We're starting to get into some bye weeks and stuff like that. Whatever, that's fine. The Irv Smith thing, listen, we said at the beginning of the year he was going to have a role, but as long as, Kyle Rudolph is still out there, and as long as this team wants to go kind of run heavy, I don't really see a lot. I mean, I'm ticking down guys like Adam Thielen and Stephon Diggs, so I'm definitely not reaching for a tight end like Irv Smith as well. You know what I'm saying?
It's a part of a passing game that hasn't done anything. Speaking of Stephon Diggs, he's going on my bench this week. That's about all you can do with Diggs right now is put him on the bench. Yep. Trying to trade him is an effort and futility, unless you're trading him for Adam Humphries. Basically, that's it. My brother-in-law told me a league mate offered him Stephon Diggs for Tyler Boyd straight up.
No way.
Come on, Benny.
Like, listen, if there's somebody in your league who's going to chase the name and make that trade, fine. But if you have Tyler Boyd and you trade him for Stephon Diggs, stop listening to our show because it's not getting through to you.
You shouldn't be a part of the hobby. I just logged on to one of my NFFC leagues, and to my surprise, Benny, I scored Darrell Williams.
Okay, nice. What'd you have to pay for him?
$160.
That's not horrible.
Out of 1,000, and this is a league where I haven't really used Fab. The runner-up bid was $1.
Really? Nobody else wanted in on him?
Did he get hurt last night? You know what I'm saying?
Not that I know of. Yeah, I mean, to me, he's again. I don't know how long Damian Williams is going to be sidelined for, but everything we saw last week was, Darwin Thompson not being the guy and Darrell Williams being that guy.
Some other ads from this league, Phil Dorsett. I like the Phil Dorsett ad.
Without a doubt. That's such a good pickup.
I love the Phil Dorsett ad. Gallman and Daniel Jones, obviously two big names. Will Dissly. I got something for you, Benny, and I specifically wanted to tell you this. Now, I'm going to share this with the audience, right? But, of course, we got to keep this between ourselves because this comes from the Beat Writer Survey. And I did the Beat Writer Survey yesterday, and we've gotten some good information from the Beat Writer Survey. We told you about Jamison Crowder. We gave you that information. We gave you some other information from the Beat Writer Survey, too. And so far, a lot of it has been spot on. Well, last night, Benny, I got a response, and it made me particularly think of you and something that you said yesterday. Let me find this right quick. Y'all, this is between us. Don't tweet about it. Don't tell nobody about it. Keep this between us until the article comes out probably later on today. And they probably won't let you know that this part is in there because they're gonna want you to pay for it. But you're getting it for free right now. So
okay.
My question to the Arizona Cardinal beat writer was, it's no secret in fantasy circles that the Cardinals defense can't cover the tight end position. Should fantasy players start Will Dissly this week? His reply was, obviously that's dependent in a part on who else owners have at the tight end position, but I'd have to say no for a couple of reasons. One, I think that the Seahawks will be able to ram the ball down the Cardinals' throat, and a successful rushing attack will limit Dissly's touches. Second, I think Arizona makes a change this week and moves Budda Baker up into the box to cover tight end. Baker is much better in coverage than DJ Swearinger and will likely get the assignment of covering Dissly.
I'm still playing Will Dissly. So, here, let me make the counter argument to the beat writer, right?
Okay.
First off, Will Dissly on DraftKings is $3,600 this week.
That's okay. Yeah.
All right. Will Dissly, I don't even want to talk about the touchdowns, even though he had two weeks ago. He had another one in garbage time last week. But he's seeing like 7 targets a game. So you
Okay.
could get in like a $3,600 tight end seeing 7 targets. That's a lot of targets for a guy for very cheap. You're not going to find any wide receivers that are seeing 7 targets, consistently for $3,500. You rarely ever find that at any position other than tight ends. And then I don't care. Yeah, they definitely got to make some moves. But here's basically what that guy's saying. They're going to move the safety down into the box to cover the tight end, which means you're leaving DK Metcalf or Tyler Lockett one-on-one on the outside.
Yeah.
And that's a strategy that you expect to win. Good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? Those are 2 guys that can stretch the field. And even the thing about the running, I think they're going to be able to run all over Arizona. The thing is, everybody throws all over Arizona.
Yep.
And not only just running, not only just throwing, but the Seahawks are a very slow-paced team. And they're now playing the team that gives them the fastest possible pace they could have because Arizona runs the most plays. So this is going to be the game where you get the most snaps, the most plays out of the guys on the Seattle Seahawks. And when you have a situation like that, what really happens is, it's not like one guy gets a ton more target share or one running back gets a ton more carries.
Everybody.
What happens? It's everybody. It's everybody. If you're normally running, say, 50 plays a game and now you're running 60 plays a game, and you got a 20% share of the targets, well, your targets are going to go up by 2 because it's an extra 20% of plays. You know what I mean? So really, I think the whole thing with Arizona is because they play so fast, because they throw and stop the clock so much, you're always able to play guys against them because they get to run more plays, and more plays means more yards. That means more opportunities for touchdowns. I mean, listen, starting guys against Arizona has worked all season long, and it's going to work all season long. So you're going to need a much better argument than that to take me off of playing any of these guys, especially at the tight end position with how badly they've been beaten the last 3 weeks.
Nice. Benny is not buying in. Deontay Johnson, a pickup in this league. I don't mind the Johnson pickup. I think it's a good idea. I don't know if I'll be starting him yet, but I definitely think he's a player to watch. Jacoby Brissett.
Corey, let me ask you, from here on forward, the rest of the season, would you rather have Johnson or Washington?
Johnson.
I you know what? I hate to say it too because I have some Washington shares in best ball, but if I could go back, I'd rather have Johnson.
Brissett picked up. That's an easy one right there. CJ Procise, I don't know what they're looking for in Procise. Jason Witten, I don't think is a bad pickup. Preston Williams, I would not start a Miami Dolphin on my fantasy team ever.
If I did, though, Preston Williams is the guy. I got to be honest. He's the guy I like the most, and I'm a guy that had a bunch of Devontae Parker late-round flyers. I wish it would have been Preston Wilson right now. Or Preston Williams.
No, listen, it's better than anything else they got. You know what I'm saying?
Unfortunately so, yeah.
Players dropped in this league. Deonta Foreman. I don't know why he was drafted.
Yeah.
This draft was done in September. Andy Dalton. Love the Andy Dalton pickup. Benny, who would you start this week? Dalton or Baker Mayfield?
It wouldn't be Baker Mayfield. Honestly, you'd have to go down.
Benny said, I can't say it's going to be Andy Dalton, but I know who it's not going to be.
Yeah, it would probably be Andy Dalton if I had those two. I'm telling you, man, I am not impressed with what Baker Mayfield has. I've been kind of hating on Cleveland since week 1. But what I saw out of them in week 1, and then, they beat the Jets, but it wasn't impressive. And then they only put up 13 points. I mean, the Rams are a good defense. So, putting up 13 against the Rams is not like that bad, but it's still 13 points, They
didn't look good doing it. You felt like they were all playing behind the 8 ball. Danny Amendola dropped after that big week in week 1. Jerick McKinnon, there's no reason to have him on your fantasy team. Corey Clement, no reason. Dante Pettis dropped. That's interesting, Benny.
Not bad. I mean, again, he's not the main guy in San Francisco. At this point, he's at best a third wide receiver. And even then, you got like Kendrick Bourne and stuff like that. They're just using
everybody.
A lot of guys. Yeah, they're using a lot of guys, and nobody really stands out. I mean, again, I'm happy with my Debo shares because we got him so late in drafts when nobody else was talking about him. But other than that, I don't really want – the only pass catcher I want on San Francisco is Kittle.
Yep, that's it. I agree with you. Cam Newton cut. No problem with that. I would drop Cam Newton right now. Also, Jordan Reed, there's no reason to roster him. There is starting to be retirement talk out of the Reed camp.
They don't even know if he's coming back this year.
Yeah.
It's like an open-ended, we're talking to doctors trying to see what's wrong and if we can get him back in the field, not when we can get him back in the field,
When what's wrong is football.
What's wrong? Concussions. That motherfucker doesn't even know his name anymore. He's had so many.
Jordan Wilkins cut. If you are a Marlon Mack owner, I would invest in Jordan Wilkins. Chris Conley cut in this league. I would pick him up. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put a claim in to pick him up. And then finally, let me look at the big one, the auction. Should have been a light night in the auction. I didn't use all my damn money anyway. Darrell Williams was added. I did not have enough to get him anyway in this league. He went for $324.
Wow. Wait, out of 2,000 or out of 1,000?
Out of 1,000.
At 33% is a pretty big. It's a pretty big hit right there. That's a big number.
Yeah, no, it is. C.J. Anderson was added. I don't get that. Hunter Henry.
C.J. Anderson is supposed to get picked up by either the Houston Texans or the New York Giants by the end of the week. Is the rumor?
Oh, wait a minute. Hunter Henry was added.
Is he coming back? I didn't see any Hunter Henry news. I don't know.
The team is hopeful to get Hunter Henry back this season. So there you go. Chris Vaccaro, our buddy, spent $61 on him. Dawson Knox, tight end in Buffalo, not a bad pickup. Taylor Gabriel.
Do you expect that to continue though? I mean, he had the big stiff arm, which was kind of cool, and he got in the end zone, which was kind of cool. But Tyler Kroft is expected back this week, and he was the guy who they expected to be the starter anyway.
They like Kroft.
But I don't see the upside. Like I think he's like a replacement tight end. You know what I mean? Like if you got a bye week tight end and he's sitting on your waiver wire, fine. But I don't really see him as a guy I want to start every week going forward.
I think he's more of a placeholder. Taylor Gabriel picked up. Not a bad pickup. I wouldn't chase that game though. Vernon Davis picked up. You know what that's about.
I like that more than Dawson Knox.
I agree. Trubisky picked up. I could not ever put Mitchell Trubisky in the starting lineup.
Is this a three quarterback league?
I know, right? T.J. Yeldon picked up the pass catching ability. I see a lot of people picking up C.J. Procise this week. I don't get it.
So last week, Chris Carson had that big fumble, and C.J. Procise came in and basically played a lot of snaps after that. Basically, they decided, you know what, we're just going to sit Carson right now because he keeps fumbling. The thing I think people are overlooking, though, is that Rashard Penny didn't play last week, and he's coming back. So, like, those carries that went to Procise are probably going to go back to Penny because Penny was sitting out last week, which is why Procise even got in there in the first place.
Yeah, no, I like your thinking on that one, Penny. Arcega Whiteside dropped. That's feasible. Alshon Jeffrey will be back. Speaking Arcega Whiteside pushes back in that role, in that mix.
Dallas Goddard being back too also is going to hurt Whiteside. Yes. Now they can go back to the two tight end stuff.
Very true, Benny. Nick Boyle and Matt Prater also picked up. Some interesting names dropped this week. Kiki QT, Benny. That's your guy, Benny. I think that you would agree that it's time.
Yeah, I mean, again, I have a lot of him in best ball. I was getting them around like the 10th, 11th round or so. Listen, he had some big games last year. The thing that really killed it for me, and again, if I was redrafting after I knew this news was going to happen, I probably wouldn't have been so high on him. When they went out and got Kenny Stills, that's when I was like, that's a problem. Because not only was Kuti hurt and not likely to start the season, but now he dropped from third on the depth chart and a guy who was running a lot of those slot routes when he was healthy to being behind Kenny Stills on a depth chart. So now he's going to need an injury to one of those guys to even find a place to play. And he's got to get healthy and get back on the field and start producing again anyway. Remember, this is a guy who had some big games last year. In the playoffs, I think he put up a double-digit catch game and 100 yards. I remember because I played him all over in daily that week, and he crushed it for us. So, I think he's talented, but I don't like the opportunity he has right
now. Jimmy Garoppolo dropped. Chris Conley dropped. This is a mistake. I would go pick Chris Conley up. A.J. Brown cut. Jordan Reed cut. Naheem Hines, Marcus Mariota, David Njoku, Robbie Gold, Ty Montgomery, who we had a little hope for, Benny. That hope has now disappeared.
Yeah. The Jimmy G thing and remember, San Francisco and the New York Jets have the buys this week. So there are people that are probably dropping a guy like Jimmy G or, maybe some of the fringe Jets players right now because those two teams are out on bye. They'll be back next week. So, my guess is the Jimmy G owner probably just needed a quarterback to start this week. So he very likely probably dropped Jimmy G and picked somebody else up.
Let me ask you a question, Benny.
Go ahead.
Who would you start this week, Sony Michel or Miles Sanders?
Not Sony Michel. I'm very worried about Sony Michel right now.
Really?
He only played about 20% of the snaps last week. Didn't look good doing it. Like it's and again, that was without James White. So now you have James White back. Like part of the reason I think everybody is picking up Rex Burkhead is because Sony Michel really hasn't looked good. So I'm a little bit worried about him right now, Corey. I got to be honest with you.
All right. Wide receivers, Nelson Aguilar goes into the spot that was, Alshon Jeffrey goes into the spot that was held by Nelson Aguilar. We got Hollywood Brown. We got Odell Beckham, Travis Kelce, flex, Benny.
I actually like Hollywood Brown this week. I think people are kind of sleeping on him.
Thank you. I'm glad to hear that. Flex, Sterling Shepard or
That's
Greg
probably my answer. I'll tell you right now.
Sterling Shepard or Greg Olsen?
Sterling Shepard, and it's not even close to me.
Really?
Yeah, not even close. Listen, remember, don't get Greg Olsen. I know it was cool. He had the 75 yards and 2 touchdowns last week. He had the 100 yards the week before, but that was on a huge breakdown where he got like a huge gain and just wide open right over the middle and wound up putting in a big gain there. He had the best matchup in football last week, and he came through in it for a tight end. You know what I'm saying? So I don't expect 75 and 2 to kind of be his norm going forward. He's going to go back to catching this week. You'll probably even see it too against a good Houston Texans defense. He's going to go back to a ceiling of probably 5 or 6 catches with a touchdown for 50 yards, which again isn't horrible, but that's his ceiling. Okay. You know, his floor is 2 or 3 catches, 30 yards, and not getting in the end zone, you know?
Miles Sanders over Sony Michel. That's interesting, Benny.
I would do it. And again, it's if you're looking at Sony Michel, the way I look at it right now, Corey, he's playing so few snaps that when he's out on the field, you know what New England's doing.
Yeah, no,
you know?
Yeah, that's true.
So really the only thing you can think to yourself is, well, maybe I get the garbage time touchdown out of him, but he's not being in there in garbage time because they're trying to protect him. So you get Sony Michel basically just doing runs that the other team knows are going to be runs in the first half or the first 2.5 quarters of a football game. In order for Sony Michel to have a big game, you would need to think that this game stays very close and that he's still playing in the fourth quarter, grinding down the clock, which, to be perfectly honest, I think New England's going to beat Buffalo pretty badly here and kind of show them, you know, we're still the class of the AFC East, which isn't really a hard thing to do. I see like Burkhead having a role. I see White having a role. I just don't see Sony Michel having a big role here.
All right, cool. Let me look at some other lineup decisions. Terry McLaurin or Marquez Valdez-Scantling? I
like Terry McLaurin.
Really?
Yeah. I know it's a great matchup for Valdez-Scantling, but McLaurin's a number 1. Scantling's a number 2. I think McLaurin – I mean, listen, it's not like the Giants are a bad matchup, right? No, both of them are in good matchups against these two teams. But to me, McLaurin's the number 1, and I also think that his team is going to be playing from behind, whereas Valdez-Scantling is not the number 1, and I kind of have a feeling that his team's going to be playing with the lead. So I think the game script sets up better, and I think the targets kind of project better for McLaurin.
Darrell Wilson or Justin Jackson?
Williams, you mean? Darrell Williams?
Yeah, I said both.
Darrell Williams or Justin Jackson. This week, I'd probably have to go Justin Jackson because that matchup against Miami is one where we've kind of seen backup running backs do their thing when they're up a couple touchdowns. But I'll say this to you. You're somebody who doesn't think that the Chargers are going to go in there and blow out Miami, right?
I wouldn't bet that. I wouldn't bet the game either way.
Okay.
But the Chargers have to get healthy at some point, and this is probably a good week to do so. They haven't looked good, but they notoriously start slow.
Mm-hmm.
Now they have that 1 o'clock East Coast start again this season. They're probably 14 points better than the Dolphins, though.
All right, I was going to say, because if you don't think that the Chargers are going to put a hurting on the Dolphins, it might not get to the point where Jackson gets in there. You know, Williams is probably still going to be splitting carries with LaShawn McCoy, but at least you know he's going to get them. You know what I'm saying? At least you know he's going to get about 50% like he did last week, and he might get some passing down work, which is something Jackson really doesn't get because of Eckler. So that's a tough one. You know what? I'm actually going to change my I'm going to change it here. I know a lot of people are high on Jackson. I'd probably go Williams.
Okay. And that's Kansas City's offense.
Yep.
Here's one.
I would start you if you were the running back for Kansas City. That's how I don't even care who it is. If you're going to see half the snaps and get half the touches in the Kansas City backfield, I'll start. I don't care who you are. I'll start you.
I'll apologize to you now for giving you a donut. Flex, Greg Olsen, Miles Sanders, Justin Jackson, Cole Beasley.
Dude, I like Beasley a lot this week.
Me too.
Yeah, Beasley has a really good matchup. Stephon Gilmore probably going to shadow John Brown. So I don't think John Brown is going to have his biggest game. The only other guy who's really a weapon in that Buffalo offense, at least in the passing game, is Cole Beasley. So I actually think Beasley could have I think he had 10 targets last week. I wouldn't doubt if he does the same thing this week.
Beasley or Randall Cobb?
Ooh, that's a tougher one. I think I still go Beasley though, man. I'm expecting Beasley. I'm expecting Beasley to have a big volume. So I think you're going to get 7 to 10 targets easy out of him this week.
All right, now Randall Cobb, Justin Jackson, Miles Sanders.
I like Sanders more than Jackson. So it's basically Miles Sanders versus Randall Cobb. Cowboys have New Orleans. They're a 3-point favorite. Dude, you can throw on New Orleans. I think the matchup is probably softer for Cobb than it is for Miles Sanders. So I think I'd probably go Cobb. PPR?
Yeah, PPR.
Yeah, give me Cobb.
All right, tonight on the docket, Benny, we kick off week number 4. Philadelphia travels to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Right now, the number is sitting at 4, Benny, and I like the Eagles.
You know, I'm starting to come to this side too. And part of the reason I'm coming over to this side is because with the exception of Deshaun Jackson, everybody else is playing now. You know, when we talked about the Eagles last week and kind of likened Detroit as a sneaky team to upset them, which actually hit, the reason we didn't like them is because they were down to, wide receiver 4 and 5 playing 70-80% of the snaps because wide receiver 1 and 2 were out and tight end 2 was out, which are 3 guys who used to see a lot of snaps and were a big part of that offense. Yeah, Deshaun Jackson is still out, but you got Goddard back. You got Alshon Jeffrey back. I just feel like they have a lot more of the weapons back in there right now. And I think the total, once those guys were announced, only adjusted like a half a point. I think that it's a bigger deal than a half a point that, basically everybody in the offense except for Jackson is going to be playing here today. So early in the week, I was kind of on Green Bay. I think this game is low scoring, so I like the under. And if I had to, I'll take the full 4 points with the Eagles.
I would rather it at 4.5, and I would parlay it with the Memphis Tigers tonight in their game, in the college football game tonight.
Okay.
Get it about plus money on that. That's how I would play tonight. As far as touchdown scorers, this is something we like to get into this prop bet right here. The best number is Aaron Jones at plus 105.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Philly is tough against the run, but yeah, Aaron Jones, I never have a problem with a starting running back if you're taking him to score a touchdown. What's Devontae Adams' number?
Plus 105.
I was hoping to get more on that. He hasn't scored a touchdown yet this year. But with that being said, I kind of think Aaron Rodgers knows that too. And, Adams is normally a guy who goes out there and does put up touchdowns. So I like that, but I don't really like that number. I was hoping to get more on it.
Valdez-Scantling is plus 185.
I would need more to bet on that.
I agree with you on that. Geronimo is plus 280. Jamal Williams also plus 280.
I'd honestly rather take Jamal Williams than Geronimo.
Let's get into that point. On the Philadelphia Eagles side, Zach Ertz is plus 175.
Again, with the tight end back and with Alshon back, I don't know if I want to take that chance. I would have taken it last week when all those guys were out, but I don't really want to take it this week.
Miles Sanders is plus 210.
Not a great bet, but I like that. I like that, honestly, more than Ertz, I think.
Alshon Jeffrey and Nelson Aguilar each plus 220.
I like the Alshon one. I don't know if I would chase the Aguilar.
I agree. I like the Alshon one as well. Jordan Howard is plus 270. Carson Wentz to run it in is plus 550.
I mean, I'm not going to take that. I will say this. I actually like Jordan Howard, I think. No, I won't say the Jordan Howard one more than the Sanders. I'd still rather have Sanders, but my favorite one of all those is Alshon.
I agree. Alshon is the one. If I get on any of these tonight, Alshon is the one that I would back in this this American football contest tonight between the Eagles of Green Bay and the Packers of Philadelphia. For those of you who've seen Coming to America.
Okay, yeah. It was a glorious game.
Yes, it's a glorious game. As far as line adjustments, Benny, before we get ready to head on out of here and you get ready for the live stream tonight, not a real lot of movements. We've seen that charging number come down to -15.
I mean, again, I liked it at -16. So if it's coming down, that's,
Yep.
Where do you think that ends up? I don't think it's not going to cross 14, but can it get to 14.5 or 14?
I think
it's not going to cross it. I don't think it gets below that, but
I think it gets to 14. I think you'll see 14.5, like you said, and I think that'll be where it ends up. I'll stay right here at this 15. The Patriots got the half point back yesterday. They're now laying 7.5.
I liked it better at 7 than 7.5, but I think that kind of shows you that a lot of people are also hitting the Patriots side if they bumped it up to 7.5. You got to watch. Like, sometimes a half-point move or a point move doesn't mean a lot to me, but when that move is around the number 7 or around the number 3, it's a big deal. So that's a big deal, losing the half point there to 7. So I don't want to chase the Patriots right now. I actually have a little bit of them in teasers down to -1, and I have a little bit of them actually at -7 already. So I'm going to stick with that.
The Rams came off that 10. They got down to -9 versus Tampa.
-9 is better than -10, 7 plus 3 field goal wise, but I'm not really a huge fan. I don't think the Rams are blowing people out this year like they did in last year, basically. So yeah. I'm not looking to chase them at 9. I think they win, but 9's a lot of points to ask me to take or give.
I lost it just that quick. And finally, Jacksonville got that half point back there, a +3.5 against the Denver Broncos.
Love Jacksonville.
I do. I like Jacksonville a lot this week.
And you know what? While you're there, sprinkle a little bit on that money line for Jacksonville too.
Yes. Speaking of sprinkles on money lines, I would sprinkle the Dolphins money line this week.
What's the Dolphins money line this week?
The Dolphins money line is 700.
Like 700. What is it?
700.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I'm not, but I get it. West Coast team coming east, early game. Like, there's a lot of reasons. There's a lot of trends. Let's say that there's a lot of long-term trends that are kind of on that side, but I also think that Miami is historically bad.
I would also money line Washington this week also
against the Giants. I don't think it's crazy. I actually like the Giants in that game, but I don't think it's crazy.
This is it for me with Washington. You let me down. You embarrassed me and Benny last week, Washington. Well, earlier this week.
Big time, yeah.
You embarrassed us. But do not embarrass us again, DC. But I'm going to roll with you one last time. Big piece of chicken, Benny. I don't have any today. So there you go. You'll get one from me tomorrow.
Let's see. Big piece of chicken. I'm trying to think last night if anything good happened. No, not really. So I'll hold my big piece of chicken for tomorrow. Hopefully I'll be giving it to somebody tonight that helped me win some money.
All right, there you go right there for my main man, Benny. Corey Parson, the fantasy executive, the opening line. We are out.